Yeah. You read it right. Gene Simmons has now entered into the pantheon, or really, he's a founder of the pantheon of folks that they get a microphone shoved in their face and just go fucking crazy. About a year and a half ago, it was him saying that rock is dead that stirred up a lot of people. And weirdly enough, even though this is traditionally a heavy metal channel, and even though this is a channel that typically doesn't speak very much about hip-hop and rap music, I have a feeling this is going to stir a lot of people up. And for those of you that may have a preconceived notion about this, those of you who have strong opinions about rap or hip-hop music, I want you to listen to this argument and think about, I want you to think about it this way. Think about, instead of them talking about hip-hop and rap, Gene that is, they were talking about heavy metal. Because this is honestly the same argument. It is the same argument. Apparently, Gene Simmons is just trying to crusade for the end of all music, since Kiss is not going to live forever. Kiss is apparently meant to be the be-all, end-all of music. You have to actually be somewhat good to do that. And aside from the stage show, the theatrical elements, the rabid fan base, music itself, it's average at best. Especially if you take a look at the 80s. Damn. That was some ugly stuff. I'm not going to sit here and read this article because I have it linked in the description below. You can check it out yourself. But there are a couple things that I want to sort of point out from it before I get into my own opinion about how I feel regarding what Gene had to say. He's, essentially his words are that he's looking forward to the death of rap, and he's looking forward to music coming back with lyrics and melody instead of just talking. A song, as far as Gene is concerned, is by definition lyric and melody, or just melody. And predominantly music is about melody and lyric, whether it's in rap or doo-wop, or, even rock. That last line, it just, something about that just pisses me off. It really does. It's almost like he's saying, I guess it's in rock too. That's why it's dying. We don't have enough melody. We don't have enough lyric. That's why it's dying. These guys just coming out here and reciting fucking poetry and banging on a drum for 5 seconds out of time. The guitarist doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and they're calling it art. Jeez. Another thing that he stated is that rap will die next year, 10 years from now, at some point. Fuck this. He also said something about he doesn't have the cultural background. We know, Gene, you're not gangster. He said that in the article. He's not a gangster. And the one thing, probably the best thing that he said in this entire article, and the most accurate thing that he said in this entire article, was the fact that hip-hop originated from the streets. That is the one accurate statement that I got from this article, was the music history one. Congratulations. Good job, Gene. You've been around long enough. You actually have been around to see hip-hop grow up. Considering Kiss came out before the first major hit rap song. And really at that point, it was not even really under the guise of rap or hip-hop. It was more of like a funk idea. Of course, we're talking about Rapper's Delight. Love that track to this day. God damn, is it good. It is so good. I'm probably going to listen to it after I stop recording here. Respect your classics. That's all I'm going to say. Respect your classics. But Gene could not be further off here. And once again, I say, imagine if he said this about heavy metal. First of all, Kiss is a rock band. The fact that he's not said something about heavy metal being dead is amazing to me. And that actually tells me that deep down in his mind, he kind of thinks he's a metal band. That Kiss is a metal band or something. I don't know. I don't know why you assault rock and you assault rap and you don't go after metal, which seems like an easy target, because it's not one that has the press. It doesn't have sort of the vision within the press that these two genres do. Maybe he's probably just doing it for the publicity. It's negative publicity, I'll tell you that. But imagine if he was saying that about heavy metal. Heavy metal's origins were all based around anger and doom and gloom. Instead of it being based around gangsters in the street. The streets. Gene, I wanted to have a little heart-to-heart with you about 18 months ago whenever you talked about rock, but now we have to do it again. You're also pissed off about some rap groups, hip-hop groups getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I kind of understand that. I understand the fear that that's what it's going to become, that it's going to become taken over by hip-hop and pop and all this other stuff, whenever it says Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My personal opinion on this is that it was representative of the 1950s. It was representative of the genre of music that its popularity revolutionized the music business. There was music prior to 1950. There was plenty of it. You know, there's blues records that go back to 1920, maybe even earlier than that. Really, the 1900s could be seen as the music age. But rock and roll in the 1950s, Elvis Presley, you know, names such as that was the revolution. That was whenever it really became a reality, a part of our life. So maybe it's one part tribute to that, maybe it's a tribute to the genre and it was meant to stay within the confines. He says that there's a lot of backhanded politics that take place. Probably true. Probably true. So form your own Hall of Fame. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. Personally, I think having Run DMC in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is perfectly fine. Having NWA in there would be perfectly fine and is perfectly fine. Having Tupac and Biggie in there would be perfectly fine by me. And eventually, Dr. Dre being inducted for his own solo work as a producer and as an artist, perfectly fine. Eminem, perfectly fine. Kendrick Lamar, if his career continues this way, perfectly fine. Kanye West, yeah, I have to actually say perfectly fine, because he has had an impact. Not a good one, but there have been other people that haven't had a good impact and still are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But we're getting off base. This is an article that many people may constrict as extremely offensive. Either that or just said from, spoken from a gent that doesn't have very much in the way of respect because of the way in which it's worded. The way in which this seems to just be pointing this, well, I'll put it to you best this way. If hip-hop and rap is just a trend, we're now in 2016. Rapper's Delight was the late 1970s. I'm going to guesstimate, because I don't have the info in front of me, 1978. And I think that's actually right. Maybe 77. 40 years is not a trend. 40 years is not a trend. Because Rapper's Delight and other songs like it, that's what started the revolution. The 1980s furthered it, made it bigger. Run DMC alone, many hip-hop fans and hip-hop artists owe a debt the size of probably the country. 40 years is not a trend. 40 years is a genre. And that's what this is. And hip-hop is nowhere close to dying. Much the same as heavy metal is nowhere close to dying, and much the same way that rock is not dead. All three of these genres are not dead or dying. All three of these genres are perfectly alive and well. Other things are just dominating the airwaves right now. There is a lull period, and guess what happens within a lull period? Whenever there's a lull period in a musical genre, these days, it usually just sits back, relaxes, festers. There's a lot of great albums that are released, even though they don't get the same coverage, the same exposure. There's going to be a ton of albums that are looked back upon 20 years later, and they're going to be seen very, very fondly. You know, whenever Neutral Milk Hotel, for example, released their self-titled record, I don't think the band or anybody really figured in that 20 years it would be considered a new classic, or maybe American baseball is another good example, or American football rather, American baseball. There's only one baseball. And the same thing can be said for heavy metal. You know, back in the 1990s here in America, everybody thought that heavy metal was dead. Everybody thought it was gone. Where did metal go? We had bands such as Pantera and Machine Head that were really frontlining the charge, and Machine Head was new at that point, so I really shouldn't even associate that. You know, there was the death metal scene that was going. There were tons of things going on. We've done videos about this topic. Gene, one final thing that I want to say to you before we get going, because quite frankly, I'm just going to respond to this article by saying hip-hop's not dead. It's never going to die. Because heavy metal won't die, because rock's not going to die, pop isn't going to die, and country music, even if you like it or hate it, it's not going to die. But Gene, you and I, we have to have a little chat. I've noticed over the past 2 years that whenever you decide to open up your mouth, there's nothing constructive that comes out of it. There's absolutely no construction that comes out of your mouth at all. You're constructing these words and you're cutting down hip-hop music, rock music, you're criticizing the Hall of Fame, maybe you have some stuff to say about your band. I'm going to just go out and say it again. You're rich. You have a lot of money. So what I say means nothing, because you've accomplished that. Your music, though, purely on the musical scale, it's average. It's average. And I felt that way for a long time. I respect Kiss. I love the theatrical element. I love what you and Alice Cooper really did to transform the live show in the 1970s. The music's just average. The theatrics make the whole thing. I thought music was melody and lyric. There isn't a lot there. I mean, it's okay, but whatever. Why can't you... This is a time that you have. This is the opportunity that you have now that you're an ambassador to music, since Kiss's career is pretty much done. You had a shitty cartoon. You could do that. But you can't be constructive. You can't be an ambassador. You can't help out the rock bands of tomorrow. You can't encourage the hip-hop kids of today. You can't just encourage people to go out and play the music that they love. You can't basically just tell them that this is a wading pool that has sharks in it. You can't encourage them to follow their dreams. And you can't be encouraged by the new sounds that they'll make. Instead, all I see is this dismissal. I see this rampant dissatisfaction, which I understand. Dissatisfaction is fine. But to outright say that there is no future, to outright say that the time has come, that the apocalypse is nigh, better like what you see now because it'll be gone in a couple years, it's just a trend. Is rock and roll a trend? Because if rock is dead, if you officially pronounced it deceased, Dr. Gene, does that mean that its death reel will list it at, say, 64 years old? 1950 to 2014, whenever you made that statement? So once again, that ain't a trend. That's a genre. That's a career. It's almost the average lifespan of a human being. Hip-hop being dead? No. You take a look at the landscape. You actually look. Do a little research, Gene. Look at what is actually out there. Dig underneath the surface of the Lil Waynes and the Drakes. The people that are right up here. The people that are involved in just as many backdoor politics as you speak about with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that you no doubt were a part of whenever you were an active star. Is that what this is? Are you pissed because other people have adopted your methods or perhaps made them better? Gene, 64 years is not a trend and rock is not dead. 40 years is not a trend. Hip-hop is not dead. It is full of life. In reality, to call it a 40-year-old isn't fair. Because it still has the energy, the vitality, the sales, the support. That's why you need to be constructive. That's why they have the sales and the support. The people that love this music, the fan base that loves this music, consumes. Encourage consumption. Encourage it. That sounded so they live. Encourage consumption. Consume. Encourage that people go out and pick up a couple brand new records a week. Why is it the doom and gloom, Gene? Why is that the only thing on your tongue? Hip-hop is vibrant, alive and well, and regardless to any feeling that you may have, Gene or fan that is watching this video or person watching this video, whether you love hip-hop or hate it, you have to admit that this is a cultural explosion, the most recent sound that has come, that has felt brand new. And it will continue to be explored. Gene Simmons is dead wrong, once again. No surprise. Gene, just stop talking. If somebody hands you a microphone and wants your opinion on something, just say, "That's okay, sir. I've had my fill for today. I have a very serious medical condition where I say stupid shit." You agree or disagree with this notion? Let me know in the comments below. My name is Coverkillernation, and I will talk to you later.